Hello, I'm Dr. Catherine Horton. It is now 1:45 a.m. I want to show you the frequencies that are being pumped into the home. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's absolutely insane. Here. It's like, look at this. It is just, my skull is burning up from the inside. And what they've just done, there have been some insane peaks here and here. And basically, they're just torturing me. My skull is burning up from the inside, and I was desperately trying to fall asleep. And what they've done is essentially, in my sleep, wait until I'm unconscious, and then control my limbs again. And essentially, they just made me kick my husband really hard in sleep. I just woke up, and it's like they're destroying our life. They really are. These degenerate psychopaths are run by MI6 and MI5. If you just Google MI6 and MI5 exposed, you'll find all the desperate pleas of the MI6 and MI5 agents who've been sex abused by these psychopaths. It's all there. Essentially, the satellites are run out of the Ceausescu towers next to in there. And it's essentially, they are just clinical psychopaths. Their pedo fuck buddies are essentially running amok and just torturing people, just turning on people. And the men who are doing this are all in their 60s. They are absolute end-state degenerates. And they are just subverting everybody. And men like Dr. Otto Lampe just are like dirty collaborators, like thinking of excuses why they shouldn't help people. And meanwhile, we are being destroyed. You can all Google electromagnetic torture and BND, and you will find just the desperate testimony from all like honest people who are actually trying to do stuff, like actually trying to improve the world. And meanwhile, you've got these like wanky degenerates just running amok. So essentially, just look at the frequencies. I mean, this is the distribution. This is 560, and look at this down here. This is whack. This is the mobile phone signal. This should be the highest signal here. And look at this frequency range. This is at 560, this peak. And just look at that. My home is just being whacked with these things. And we don't know which ones they're using. But just look at this. Look at this ginormous structure that has just arisen here, going all the way down to 100 megahertz. I mean, that is the mobile phone signal here. That's here. This little hump. That's the GSM marked here. And look at that. So this is now going up to minus 47 dBm. And they're just whacking the home. And God knows what sort of nanoparticles they've actually injected into me at the last MRI. But essentially, the intelligence agencies are just torturing people to death, these degenerates. And the ambassador to Germany knows what's happening, because all embassies are essentially BND. They are all the British embassies are MI6 staff, and all the German embassies are BND. So he knows this sort of stuff, and essentially he's just sitting there watching a German citizen being tortured to death by the degenerate Swiss Nazis. That's what Dr. Otto Lampe does. It's a rerun of Colonia Dignidad. Essentially, this is Colonia Dignidad 2.0. And literally, they are just torturing us every single day. They have these degenerate neighbors where they put down the transmitters, but it's just, they're trying to just neurologically degrade you by every single method. When we went to bed, they just drilled a pencil beam next to my spine. It was so agonizingly painful. I was writhing in pain until I put aluminium around my chest. And then I'm just sleeping with my head covered in aluminium, just trying to block out these I don't know what waves they are. Are they scalar waves? They just they shoot it, and you can hear the aluminium cracking. You can hear the aluminium cracking as it's being hit by these degenerates. It's like, what is this? What the fuck is this? And essentially, it's so clear who's doing this. The perpetrators are all intelligence agents. These are all the European intelligence agencies. They have built up this system of end-state degeneracy, absolutely unaccounted, and they are just out murdering people. The German Black Operations budget, which was revealed by Christopher Story, the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst, like a Nazi grouping that is just still fighting the Second World War. The war, der Krieg ist nimmer vorbei. Like, what? What's wrong with these degenerates? They are essentially clinical patients. They are the mad ones. And literally, they are just turning on young couples for nothing. It's like my husband has to sleep in the living room now because in the bedroom I'm being tortured such that I'm writhing in bed. And they control my limbs. They amuse themselves. I lie in bed and they just move my hand. As you can see, they have, what is called synthetic telepathy, the 400 to 700 megahertz range. They read out your brain print, and then the idea is that ever after, they can just come after you, have one of these little emitters, send a pulse, and then your limbs jerk, and you then fall off your bike, you have accidents, and all this sort of stuff. And this is run by the intelligence agencies. This is run by these absolute end-state degenerates. Dr. Bruno Karl is the Nazi in charge of this in Germany. Alex Younger is the Nazi in charge of it in Britain. And the NDB are the Nazis, the key Nazis here in Switzerland. They are essentially exterminating human beings because these men are so beyond sanity. They're just publicly mutilating people. And just look at the signal. Is that normal? Is that normal? That you've got Dr. Paul Batcho saying anything between 400 and 750 is an act of terrorism, and you have this ginormous signal being whacked in that is even bigger than the mobile phone signal. And look at that. Look at what's being hammered in here. Also at minus 47 dB at 2.7 gigahertz. And these Nazi degenerates, look at that. Look, what's this? What the fuck is this? And you can see them gloat on Twitter. You can see the Nazis gloat on Twitter. Essentially, we have a rerun of the Second World War. We have the fucking Gestapo back. But it's just, if you think in terms of nationalities, you will not get it. These are psychopaths. These degenerate old farts are all psychopaths. They've all been taken up the rear as children. That's why they continue fucking children and worshipping goats and shit like that. These are all psychopaths. They are all, damaged people. But it's all online. Just Google MI6 and MI5 exposed and you will have all this. It's just all online. It's their own agents, begging for help. And you can read how during their training they had hot oil poured over them and they almost killed a woman and they just made people jump off a cliff and shit like that. It's like, how fucking degenerate can these people be? And how fucking degenerate can you be if you don't do anything about it?